Yeah. Good evening. Yes, it is. Happy New Year. Welcome to the Mililani-Waipi'o Melemanu Neighborhood Board. It is Wednesday, January 28th, 2026. It is 7 p.m. and we are going to convene our regular January agenda. I'd like to invite everyone to please stand if you are able so that we can recite the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, so this agenda has provided public notice pursuant to the Sunshine Law. This is a hybrid meeting, meaning that it is both held online and in person. What I kindly ask and remind those who are returning is to please just raise your hand if you're a board member or a member of the public, so that during this agenda I can recognize board members and members of the public so that we can have questions and answers accordingly on the agenda topics. Without further ado, I'd like to turn it over to our neighborhood board assistant, Rachel, so that we can have a roll call and establish quorum for the board. Thank you.
Thank you, and Happy New Year, everybody. Okay, so when I call your name, let me know if you're present. Bass?
Present.
Thank you. Harmati?
Here, online.
Thank you. Flores? Present. Freed?
Here.
Thank you. Gustafson?
Here.
Thank you. Inouye? I saw him online, but I'll come back again. Okay. Kanehe?
Online. Present.
Thank you. Okay. Kapanaaki? Present. Thank you. Kim? I think I have him absent for now. Okay. Kennard?
I'm going to ask, kindly mute your microphones so that we don't have repeat in audio. Thank you.
Okay, so I had Kennard present online. Pupuka'a? Absent. Then Darsha Lee?
Present online.
Thank you. Marilyn Lee? Thank you. Nagamine? Here. Alex Ozawa?
Present online.
Thank you. Then Catherine Ozawa? Thank you. Park?
Here, online.
Thank you. Rana? Present. Ross? Thank you. Segura? Thank you. Smart?
Present.
Present. Cersina?
Present.
Thank you. Williams?
Present online.
Thank you. And then I'll come back to the others. I saw Inouye online. And then we'll come back to Kim one more time. And Pupu Ka'a. Okay, so we have 21 members present.
Great. We have a full house online and in person. Let's kick it off with our monthly reports. Is HFD here? No? Okay, they're responding to something. Okay, next up, HBD, welcome. Happy New Year. Come on down.
Aloha, Happy New Year. I'm Lieutenant Romel Baisa with the Honolulu Police Department, Wahiawa Police Station. Our district encompasses Mililani, Wahiawa, and the North Shore. Reporting stats for December 25th till January 25th, the last 30 days. For the Lower Mililani area, we've had 1 assault case, 2 burglary cases, that's the house break-ins, 1 robbery case, 4 car break-ins, and 843 calls for service. We've issued for the whole district 210 parking citations, 926 traffic infractions, 140 traffic crimes, and 80 criminal citations. We also made 70 arrests with 111 charges for the last 30 days. Safety tip for the month is on pedestrian safety. See and be seen. When crossing the street, make sure that the driver sees you before crossing. Try making eye contact or even throw the shaka when crossing the street to make sure that they see you. This year, we've already had, as of yesterday, 5 fatalities 3 of them involve pedestrians, but none in our district. So it's a good thing.
Well, thank you for your report. Members of the board, members of the community, are there any questions for Honolulu Police Department at this time? Emil, followed by Skylar.
Yes, I want to follow up on the crossing the crosswalk, looking at the phone. How much is the fine?
Oh, I'm not sure what the fine is. John, you know the fine for well, it's a fairly new law. I'm sorry, I'm not sure on the fine on that. I can try to check in and
you.
let you guys know.
Aloha. I know, sad to say, drones were used this year for December 31st, and I know there's a big topic and stuff like that. I was wondering, do you have any information regarding that or anything you can share with the public?
The drones were used mostly by Department of Law Enforcement. That's the state guys. We did have some that were deployed by HPD. I don't have any specifics as far as how much enforcement they did with using the drones.
Fireworks, or are we going to be expanding the program into other areas?
We have been using the drones for a lot of different things. Enforcement, we've done for the last fires up by Kunia. We've used them for that. We use them for special events, like big events like the marathon, 4th of July fireworks. We've been using the drones for a while. Yeah. Barricade, yeah.
Are there any further questions for HPD from either the members of the board or the members of the public? I see that board member Ann Freed is waving her hand. Go ahead, Ann.
Yeah, so that just jogged my memory. 4th of July. Yeah, so I have a question. I have a couple questions. Sounds like you need to do some research to answer it, but next time maybe you get back to us is it was better, but it was still pretty bad.
I'm sorry,
And
what is better?
so fireworks. And so, you know, I have a question for HPD. What would you need in order to do a more comprehensive job? And I'd also like to know if there were any arrests. So how many drones do you need? How many police officers do you need in order to get this, particularly on New Year's Eve and the 4th of July, under control?
I don't think the issue is only falls with HPD. I think it falls with legislators, Department of Law Enforcement. HPD, you got to understand, is only for the island of Oahu, the different districts in the island of Oahu. As far as the state itself, that's the state law enforcement officers.
Right, but that's
as
my question, is for our state, particularly for my neighborhood, because that's what I
I think you're
represent.
talking to the wrong person, man, because that is a question for like the legislators. And as far as HPD, we're doing what we can. We staff the beats on New Year's Eve and just about every day, but especially more so on New Year's Eve. We staff them. We staff the freeway. We make sure that traffic is flowing. So fireworks is one of the main concerns during New Year's Eve, but it's not the only concern that we have on New Year's Eve. Does that
Okay,
make
I'm
sense?
sure. No, it does not. So you're telling me that you don't make that the leadership doesn't make recommendations to the
Again, leadership.
legislature? Okay, then ask your leadership and please get back to us.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, I'll forward the information. Thank you.
Yeah, all right, thank you.
I'm sorry. What did I not answer? I'm sorry.
So I ask your leadership how many drones they would need to police fireworks, how many extra police officers, if any, they would need, and how many arrests were made.
We made 2 arrests for the island.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
So that check that block. Then the other 2.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. And we got a few more questions I see. Member Smart, go ahead.
Is HPD allowed to cooperate with ICE, and have we had any anti-ICE activity here in Oahu?
I haven't heard, especially not in our district. Maybe the other district, they have had protests, but it's mostly been peaceful. So we haven't had any problems with it.
And are you allowed to cooperate with ICE?
We haven't heard anything as far as we are prohibited from cooperating with ICE. However, they have not asked us for, again, I'm talking about our district, which is separate. Yeah.
Ma'am, for your question, please approach the microphone. Direct your question and state your name for the record. Direct your question to the board, and HPD will answer your question. Thank you. This is for transparency and for the record, so that folks on YouTube and online can watch this. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Rhonda. I'm a constituent. I'm a neighbor. And I don't think that lady that asked those questions, I don't think I don't think it's a problem that she thinks it's a problem. I don't think the fireworks is a problem. Just, I'm one of you as your neighbors. I think that's a little crazy.
Okay, just as a friendly reminder, we don't need to identify people. We can address concerns to just the board. You support, yeah. Okay, that's fine. Yeah. Okay, got it. You disagree. Okay, thank you. Are there any further questions for Honolulu Police Department tonight? Actually, I have a few. I saw a few. I received one by email today. So in terms of the email, I did receive a request from a Lani Kohana resident right near Walmart area that there was some concerns of speeding right in that area and whether there could be some speeding enforcement for that. So I
Sure.
just wanted to relay that to you. They also requested a traffic study, but that's not you guys.
No.
But if we could look at some.
Sure. Yeah,
enforcement.
we do have traffic enforcement units that go out at least a couple times a week,
Mhm.
and we'll let them know to
Great.
try to direct some speeding enforcement over there.
Great. Let's see. Also, during the break that our board was out, we didn't have a board meeting in December. I saw on social media some concerns from Mililani residents and Mililani groups, social media groups, that they're noticing a lot of left turns outside of Mililani Town Center next to Asagio's, where there is a no left turn area during that time frame. Some heavy criticism of lack of enforcement in that area. So if we could show some presence and enforcement, because some Mililani residents shared on that open forum that they felt that the sign was largely disregarded.
Got it.
Okay. Finally, just on more of a highlight of a note, I wanted to thank you. When we saw you guys last in November, we did have the December break, and it's always a concern of our area, especially as the economy gets rough, right? You see increase of crime, especially during the holidays when we're all celebrating and, you know, spending time with our family members, relatives. And so I just really, our board did ask you to increase enforcement and presence in the Mililani community area. And on a personal note, just living here, I saw so many patrol cars. And I really want to thank you for listening and supporting our Mililani community and making sure that enforcement and police presence was heavily available and ready during those holiday times. So I just want to thank you, mahalo you, and appreciate your time.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, without, we have one more. Oh, Kurumi, go ahead.
Thank you for being here, but I have a concern from some of our constituents, and I forgot the crossroads, but this is the intersection when you're exiting the high school gym area, that intersection. It's Meheula, and I'm not too sure what the crossroads.
Anania.
Thank you, Anania. And there is a bridge, and there was some trouble before about individuals who live under that bridge. Now that the weather conditions are not as good during the winter, they have returned, but they are making fires at night.
Okay.
And that was a problem before because the fire department had to come several years ago to put that fire out. So I was hoping that maybe you could monitor that area so that there is no fire again.
Definitely. Yeah. I have Sergeant Yoshioka here with me. He's in charge of the Mililani area tonight, so I'll have him direct his officers to take care. Yeah, make checks.
Okay, not seeing any other hands raised. Thank you so much, Lieutenant. Thank you, Sergeant, for being here tonight. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Okay, next up, we have U.S. Army Combat Aviation Brigade 25th ID. Welcome.
Hello, good evening, everyone. I'm Captain Katie Kolb. I'm the Combat Aviation Brigade Public Affairs Officer. And I just have a couple notes for you all here tonight, starting with an upcoming job fair that U.S. Army Garrison is going to host. It is on February 9th at the Helamano Military Reservation Training Room, beginning at 8:30 a.m. and ending at 2 p.m. This event is open to the public, and there will be job offers and provisional hiring the day of the job fair. So if you're interested, there are two ways to go about this. You can either apply in advance online at www.himwr.com. And then all the information is provided at that link there. Just go ahead and follow that process. Or if you'd like to attend in person, just be sure to bring a couple items such as 2 references, proof of ID, social security card, and a resume or application for the applicable job. There are opportunities in the business operations like golf, bowling, food service, and many more. Child Youth Services, or CYS, will have openings to consider. And for those who work in CYS, there are a variety of benefits such as retirement, access to all recreation facilities, discounted childcare is typically the biggest benefit as well as commissary and PX privileges. Additionally, for training going on the island, so U.S. Army Garrison has published the January training advisory. At this point, most of that January training has concluded. So there's just a couple, there's one more going on in the East Range. There's Ranger and Jungle Tactics using just small arms blank fire that's through this Saturday, the 31st. But outside of that, all training for the month has concluded. However, for February's training, that schedule and training advisory will be published in the coming days. So if you don't receive that advisory over email and you are interested, you can go ahead and email the training advisory list, which is usag.hawaii.comrel, that's COMREL, @army.mil, and they can add you to that just because the date of this meeting, typically most of the training has already concluded. So if you want to get that for essentially the coming month, that's the best way to get it. And then the last note I have is that there are some prescribed burns going on during the month of April at Schofield Barracks. So there are during the training range complex, primarily for the following dates, April 13th through 19th. Alternative dates will be provided if circumstances change with the primary date range. Prescribed burning is one of the most effective tools in managing the spread of wildfires and enhances the protection of endangered plants and animals by reducing vegetative ground fuels that would otherwise be consumed by wildfire. The Army has received approval from the Hawaii State Department of Health's Clean Air Branch and has coordinated with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service to ensure that all state, federal, and Army requirements are met. Multiple personnel and assets from the Army are supporting the prescribed burn to include firefighters, aviators, engineers, range and safety officers, natural and cultural resource specialists, explosive ordnance disposal personnel, law enforcement personnel, and public affairs personnel. Operations will only take place during daylight hours, and Army wildland firefighters will remain on site each night to monitor the area. If there's any questions for any of these concerns, any additional concerns, I just want to note that there is a new number for the community concern line. So that number is 808-787-1528. That's 1528. Or again, the email to repeat from earlier, you also can direct any concerns there. It's usag.hawaii.comrel, that's COMREL, @army.mil. And that's all I have for the evening.
Thank you, Captain. Members of the board, members of the public, are there any questions for Captain Kolb at this time? Rudy, I see you. Josie had her hand up, so we're going to go with Josie and then you, okay? Go ahead, Josie.
Mahalo. I have a question. I was volunteering on Kunia between Wheeler and Schofield, and I was watching the vehicles go in, and I stopped counting after 30 vehicles that had out-of-state plates, but no permit or safety checks for our state. So when they go through the gate, do they ever check these vehicles? And if not, can they please make checks? Because some of them were completely expired. And in order to be on the island, you have to register and get a safety check and a permit within 30 days of your vehicle being here.
Absolutely.
do
Thank you
gate
for
checks?
bringing that concern up. To my knowledge, no, I don't believe that the gate is checking for that. However, I can absolutely elevate that concern. And then I was going to emphasize the point that there are 30 days for those personnel to get that complete from the date that their vehicle arrives on island. And to my knowledge, it's so transient, obviously, in the people that come in and out. So some of those personnel very well may be in that 30-day grace period still, but I can absolutely elevate that concern. Thank you for that.
Yeah, some of them were expired, so I know they passed the 30-day grace period. Thank you.
Okay, that's a great point. Thank you.
Okay, Rudy, go ahead. And then ma'am, once Rudy is finished, you can approach the microphone, state your name for the record, ask your question.
For the job fair, are they requiring the 2-page resume the same as USA Jobs?
That is a good question. The advisory that I have just says resume. However, I think that's a great standard to follow, but I can follow up with you on that specifically.
Go ahead, ma'am, please.
I'm Rhonda. I'm a neighbor.
Thank you,
And I
Ron.
was- I'm sorry, what was that question she asked about the 30 days? About the cars coming in?
Essentially,
Was she saying what was expired?
About expired safety checks and registration
So,
of vehicles.
Oh, those are the ones that are registered in Hawaii?
Yes.
Oh, thank I was just going to say,
accessing
the question I had was, so military don't have to get, they can keep their original state, so they don't have to get. So you might see someone out of state that, because they don't have to, right? Okay, that was.
Yeah, just to clarify. So I think the concern was that some of the out-of-state plates were out of date on the registration, which is not authorized, obviously. So while military members can opt to keep their state plates, they still have to follow the Hawaii state regulations in terms of conducting a safety check within the 30 days and getting the sticker to show on the
vehicular
out-of-state plate.
registration, Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
Okay. Any further questions for U.S. Army? Please raise your hand. Seeing and hearing none, thank you so much. Okay. We're going to move on to the Honolulu Board of Water Supply. Kathleen, welcome. Happy New Year.
Aloha and Happy New Year. I handed out a flyer to everybody. We have a new partnership with the Department of Environmental Services by Henry. They have come in to partner with us on our rebates on a number of items. And so for now, if you decide to get a new toilet, you will get up to $200. And you can get a good toilet at Home Depot for under $200. Can't help you yet with the installation, but at least you can get the toilet for free. So we're very grateful for the partnership, and we'll continue doing this until the money runs out. Hopefully, we hope it's sooner rather than later, because we think Roger will pony up some more too. We hope. And happy to report no main breaks in your community. I did have an inquiry from board member Ozawa, Kate. And Kate, I did check, and yes, townhome owners who get their own water bills can pay online, but it has to be on our website. It cannot be through a third party like PayPal or Venmo. There were a few glitches in the last week. So if somebody you know or you had tried to go online, yes, we were having some problems with our online website for those payments, but they have been all fixed. So you should be okay now. So thank you for your inquiry. And if there are any other questions?
Okay, thank you, Kathleen. Members of the board, members of the community, are there any questions for the Honolulu Board of Water Supply? I see Emil and Member Ross. Go ahead.
Just quick question about the rebate for the toilet. I mean, does it have to be installed by professional, or
No.
can I do it myself?
You can do it yourself.
Are there any other conditions? Because I think I don't remember all the details, but it was almost like, I didn't find it attractive. But anyway, so I can do it myself.
Mhm.
The rebate is based on some application which I have to send?
Yeah, it's all online.
Yes.
Yeah,
and
all on that information that I gave you right there.
is there an inspector which will come to the
Nope,
house?
nope, nope, nope. All we need is your receipt that you bought the toilet.
Oh, sounds great. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I bought a washing machine and I got my check in about a week or so. So
Okay. Member Ross, followed by Member Lee.
I have a question about your water or smart water monitor.
Mhm.
Is that only for monitoring like leaks and things like that? Or can you also attach it to like water sprinkler systems or anything else like that to do the exclusion for the sewer?
no, it's strictly for you actually install it on your pipe in your home, and it is for water leaks and things like that.
But so there is no rebate for the water sprinkler system one, that process to going through.
I believe not this time. Yeah. Thank you.
Marilyn.
Hey, thank you, Madam Chair. Hi, Kathleen, and thank you for being here. So I know it's a long ride home, so I won't take too long. I was really pleased to have received the water quality report that comes out twice a year. And I was also doubly pleased that it was personalized to my address. But if you can, I would just like you to confirm what it says for my house, that the water here lives up to the standards of the state and federal government.
Yeah, that's why we send you those reports. Those reports verify and confirm we're meeting all state and federal standards for water quality.
Thank you. We've always been very interested in water in Mililani, so that means a lot.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any additional questions from the members of the board or the members of the committee for the Honolulu Board of Water Supply tonight? Seeing none, thank you so much.
See you guys next month. Aloha.
Okay. Next, we have the State of Hawaii School Facilities Authority. We have Sherry Nakamura here tonight. I do want to do a preliminary before Sherry proceeds. It came to my attention after we published this meeting's agenda that there's some exciting news that the SFA would like to share in terms of a draft environmental assessment being public. And I'm not going to steal your thunder, but I do want to explain, since we're trying to conform to this agenda and Sunshine Law. While this is limited to monthly reports, I understand that, Sherry, you brought many project associates who are either here in person or online to answer any questions for the draft environmental assessment so that we can accommodate any public questions or accolades and suggestions at this time. Since it is a 30-day period between now and our next board meeting. So this might actually happen in between. So without further ado, we're going to allow for a little bit more time on this subject for monthly reports. Handing it over to Sherry.
Aloha, everyone. Sherry Nakamura from the School Facilities Authority. Today we will provide an important update of the Mililani High School Teacher Workforce Housing Project and leave a few minutes for questions. If we're not able to answer everyone's questions today, please feel free to contact me, and I have cards available, or you can go to our website at www.hisfa.org. The environmental assessment, or EA, is now underway, and we have several important updates to share. The draft EA was published in the environmental notice on January 23rd. An electronic copy is available on the state's Environmental Review Program's website and the SFA website. And if you need the website link, I will provide it to the chair and she can distribute it. Hard copies are also available at Mililani Public Library and Hawaii State Library. The public comment period is open until Monday, February 23rd. Comments may also be emailed to SYS admin, ADMIN, at pbrhawaii.com. A final EA will be published after public comments are reviewed and addressed. I would like to mention and follow up on concerns that were raised in the past regarding traffic. The Transportation Impact Assessment Report, or TIAR, which was prepared by professional transportation engineers and is included as an appendix to the EA recommends a stop sign controlled access at the project driveway, as the project does not generate enough traffic to consider a traffic signal. At this time, I would like to open it up to question and answer. And we have several representatives from Pacific Housing, the nonprofit developer who is in charge of the project, and also representatives from PBR, who is the consultant who helped on the EA.
Okay. Sherry, before we do that, could you explain the pre-assessment letter that our board provided pursuant to this process?
So prior to the EA officially starting, there were pre-consultant letters distributed to stakeholders in the community, and one went to this board. And I believe the chair consolidated a lot of comment from all of you, and thank you very much for that. And that was turned into the consultant PBR. And in the draft EA, these concerns and comments were addressed, is my understanding.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Okay, members of the board, members of the public, are there any questions to the School Facilities Authority and their associates who are online tonight? Go ahead with Mary, followed by Karumi and Sabrina.
Okay, I recently attended a town hall Representative Lachika held, and one of the things that came out was there's over 40 schools that are going to be closed, and in the future, this type of housing is going to be built on those campuses. So I'd like to know, can we stop it in Mililani and then use one of those schools to build this housing?
The closure of schools is actually not under the School Facilities Authority's jurisdiction. So it's not clear what the status is of school closure at this moment in time. We, the School Facilities Authority, are able to do projects like build teacher housing or partner with developers to do this, but we don't have any plans at this moment.
Karumi, go ahead.
You mentioned that a traffic signal was not warranted, but then a stop sign would be. But if I'm not mistaken, isn't your access point that intersection into what is right now going into, where would that place be? I mean, that be.
So actually, I'm going to turn it over to Pacific Housing Representative Lacey Shimabukuro.
Hold on.
Oh,
yes,
sorry.
yes, 1 second. I just want to remind members, when you talk the microphones are on, people can hear your side conversations. It does make it difficult for our online audience members as well as those in the public audience to understand what we're communicating. So let's try to reduce the side chatter, and we can be a little more transparent in our comments. Thank you. Go ahead, Sherry.
I'm going to let Lacey Shimabukuro answer that question, as she has been more intimately involved in the planning of the project.
Sure. The question was where the access is. So off of Mehi'ula Parkway between U.S. Postal Service and Anania Drive is an existing curb cut, and that is where we're going to use that existing curb cut to come up into our project site. And that's the only access that we're planning. The school driveway that comes off of the campus driveway near Anania Drive would only be used for emergency access.
Go ahead, Karumi, for a follow-up.
So basically, are you saying that it would be similar to what happens at the post office entrance, so that you would, when you're coming out, you would only be able to make a right turn? Or would you be able to shoot across the medial and head out left?
Yes. So the TIAR that you can review in the draft EA, it did recommend left and right turns exiting. So there'll be one lane coming into our driveway and one lane exiting, either right or left. And there's currently a left turn sort of lane that's hatched out right now. If you drive on Mehe'ula Parkway and you go near the church, you'll see it. So that is intended to be activated rather than it being hashed out right now.
We're having some problems visualizing that. I mean, as long-term Mililani residents, if a member of the project team could provide the EA in the chat, that would be great. I'm gonna recognize Sabrina for her questions, and Trevor has a question following that. Go ahead, Sabrina.
Following up on the TIA, nowhere in that assessment report does it identify how many vehicles were making U-turns at that intersection that you're discussing. I was wondering if we could get a count as to how many vehicles were making U-turns, because that would definitely affect people ingressing and egressing from the complex, which I think warrants a traffic signal, not a stop sign. So can we get a study regarding the vehicles making U-turns at that intersection?
Maybe is that a question directed towards PBR? I'm thinking either Greg or
whoever
Vincent.
did the TIA.
Well, the TIAR had traffic counts done at the 5 intersections along Mehe'ula Parkway. That's between Ho'okelewa'a and Kamehameha Highway. And those were what the State Department of Transportation and City DTS asked for. So there's no specific one at that U-turn area. Is it a U-turn where that left turn storage lane is by our curb cut?
Correct. It's the only accessible U-turn to the U.S. Post Office if you're coming from Cam Highway. So it's used quite frequently by large vehicles as well as cars accessing the post office. In addition, the TIA also talks about how, doesn't address at all any parking concerns for the complex. It says that there's a possible 280 residents that will be living there, but it doesn't say where these additional people are going to be parking in the surrounding community. So if we could get that addressed, that would be great. And then my biggest concern is the EA, and I don't know who to direct this to, on page 136 says that the preferred site in the previous report was economically unfeasible. So I'm wondering why that conclusion has changed. And now we've determined that it is feasible to construct this facility in a location that was deemed economically unfeasible previously.
Sherry, do you want to take that one? The second part about the legislative action last year?
So it's true that because of community input, which we are very appreciative of having last year, we moved the location from the first site to the second site. And we did receive additional appropriation from the legislature last year to help with some of the pre-development costs. So I think that situation has changed slightly, and we have also been trying to accommodate the community's concern about not having the development at the first location, which had many concerns, and moving it to the second location, which seems to be more palatable for the stakeholders here in this community.
How much was the additional funding you received?
Last year, we had an appropriation of $2 million.
But previously, they said the sewer connection alone was going to be $5 million.
I don't think that it was. I don't think it's actually known how much the
projected cost of this project is now $80 million, and that's today's dollars.
That included
sewer connection was $5 million. Assuming we go up because inflation, sewer connection is going to be more than 5, but you've only got 2. We're still 3 million short.
I'm
It-
not
yes,
quite
Some
sure.
of that money,
Okay, okay. Yeah. Let them answer the question.
Okay. I'll take a stab, and Lacey, you can comment. So
Okay.
I'm not quite sure where you got the 5 million number from. Initially, there was there's $5 million that has been misunderstood. Initially, in the original proposal, there was a 5 million request because if the project was done at the corner of Ho'okelewa'a Street and Meheula Parkway, where the agricultural program is, the request was 5 million to move or to design or redevelop the agricultural program, which was different from the original 5 million that the School Facilities Authority had initially. So that was people were confusing those 5 million. In actuality, we haven't had 5 million, we have had only 2 million. So maybe the infrastructure aligning with the 5 million got lost somewhere, because I don't think there was any time where we made a statement about the extended sewer costing $5 million, is in my memory.
I don't
That's
have the
right.
paperwork off the top of my head, but it was stated that the sewer connection alone was going to be 5 million. And that was in several of the reports that were published in our meetings in December of 24, I think.
Reports that were published?
Yeah, in the RFP follow-ups that we had. I forget what they're called. Where they could ask questions and then submit answers.
Oh, so this
I don't
is
know
the state's RFP in terms of
Yeah.
questions from contractors when the state was soliciting the
Yeah.
proposal.
But anyways, the last concern I have regarding the EA is section 1.3 on page 2. It's very misleading about the Mililani Master Plan community. It talks about 7 rec centers, but this complex will not have any access to any Mililani Town Association facilities. I think that should definitely be stated in the EA somewhere.
Okay, we'll take note
Okay.
of that and see Lacey writing it down.
Are there any further questions for the SFA? I see Anne Freed has your hand up. Go ahead, Member Freed.
Okay, this is probably written somewhere, but I think it'd be a good, even still, for you to remind us, when do you expect the project to be ready for people to move in?
So if everything goes well, we expect the construction to be completed in 2029.
Okay, Trevor, you had a question. Go ahead.
So when you're referencing the curb cut for the driveway for the project, is this the one that's directly across from the driveway to the ODS church? And then that's also where there's like provision for a left turn lane for a driveway that doesn't currently exist.
yes.
Lacey, as a quick follow-up, could you explain the left and right turn a little bit with that curb cut, since there was some confusion on our end and that began a lot of discussion on our end
Sure.
when that was originally said earlier tonight? Thank you.
Yeah, sure. So our driveway, and Greg and Vince, please jump in with other details on the traffic study. There will be 2 lanes at our driveway along Meheula Parkway. One is going to be for cars coming in, either turning right off of Meheula Parkway into our project, or turning left from Meheula Parkway into our driveway. So that's the entrance. The other lane will be for cars exiting either right or left onto Meheula Parkway.
Okay. At the curb cut. Okay, so thank you for clarifying that. So there's going to be 2 lanes in the entrance on the property where people are entering on the property, turning right from Meheula, entering on the property, and when they're leaving the property, they're turning left from the property onto Meheula. Thank you for that.
Yes, and I
So
think
the
Vince
question
wanted to
is,
add
can you
something.
allow, yes, the follow-up is, can you elaborate the left or right turnout from the property on Meheula Parkway at that curb cut?
Can you
Can you
guys hear me?
elaborate that?
Yes.
Thank you. Go ahead, Vincent.
Oh, hi. Hi, I'm Vincent Shigekuni with PBR Hawaii, and we're the preparers of the EA. And there are a bunch of questions that I think we have answers for. But one of the neat things about Meheule Parkway and the location of the curb cut for the project is there is a cut in the median, planted median on Meheule Parkway. And there was a storage lane. So if you're going eastbound, there is a painted storage lane that looks painted over. So for some reason, somebody decided that they didn't want that the U-turn movement. And then when you come out of the property and you're going towards the shopping center, and so that means you're turning left out of the property, there's another storage lane that also is painted. So now these storage lanes will be open and be used safely by people, by the residents accessing or leaving the site. The other question had to do with the parking, and it may not have, I can't remember all the details of the TIAR, but clearly in the report EA, we did mention how many parking stalls the project was going to include on site. So they're not going to be parking in the community, affecting people's homes. I think I can't remember all the questions, but I'm sorry, I wasn't sure if my mic was working. Are there any other questions that we can help you with?
Thank you, Vincent. Are there any other questions for this? Karumi, you have your, actually 1 second, Karumi. I'm sorry about that. Josie has had her hand up for a while, so we'll go with Josie and then yourself. Go ahead, Josie.
I'm sorry, just a throughout the report it says Mililani, but we're actually called Mililani Town. So if they could correct that to Mililani Town, because we're in two parts, Mililani Town and Mililani-Mauka. It's not Mililani and Mililani-Mauka. Thank you.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Josie.
Sorry about that. Greg is a former Mililani resident, but
Oh, way to throw him under the bus, Vincent. Oh, yeah. Go ahead, Karumi.
I'd like to make mention that there is a similar cut that already exists that gives entry into the road that leads to the YMCA. It's a similar cut, and people go left, they go right, they go across, and it is a very unsafe area for two reasons. Cars are going in and out in different directions, and it is a pedestrian nightmare because you have people who run across the street going to the school for whatever reason, whether it's the farmer's market on Sunday or if it's going to school every day. So I can see a similar situation with, excuse me, that residents who are living in this workforce housing would do the same thing, trying to cut across just to get on the other side of the road, just to get to the town center.
It's a point well taken, and I think Pacific Housing as the well, when their management company who operates the project can probably provide warnings and instructions to residents to obey traffic laws. But thank you very much.
My second question is, in this whole planning process for this second choice, did anyone entertain the effect of this workforce housing to the sports center, or I should say the field, which has become a very popular place, not just for Mililani, but for other schools in the state, for various events throughout the year? How does that impact a housing unit with the noise factor it is already a noise problem for people who live nearby in homes. Can you imagine living in this workforce housing, which is supposed to be providing a quiet place for teachers to go home to? And then you have an event almost every weekend, depending on the season? That's a rhetorical question, by the way.
Well, it's a point well taken. I live in Regency Park in Kaimuki, and it's right on the near the campus of St. Louis High School. And I certainly understand your point. I think for people that can qualify, for the teachers and staff that can qualify for this project, you have to make some choices, and sometimes it's not perfect. You can't have everything, but I think the fact that it's affordable, they'll have parking, they'll have their own. Oh, that's the other question. They'll have their own rec or community center, play area. I think those kind of things, you make a choice, and I think that folks in Mililani will like the fact that they're known as being supportive of high school education, teachers, and that in effect makes Mililani and all the residents in Mililani have a more desirable place to live, and their property values. Other people outside Mililani may want to move to Mililani because they know that Mililani takes care of teachers, public education.
Thank you, Vincent. I don't see any other questions from the board. I would just like to make this note as a friendly reminder to our board members is that I want to thank the SFA who's working with us, especially the state. You're coming to our board meetings. Unfortunately, we didn't get a presentation agendized on this agenda, which would probably be more appropriate for this long conversation. And so we're working together to make sure that we can have public comment and review for a draft environmental assessment in accordance with Sunshine Law on this agenda, since the SFA and the state have a standing monthly report with our board. We've long exceeded the 3 minutes as an accommodation to the public and to the board members. I'd like to remind the board members that through this extensive conversation over the past year and a half, I believe, if not longer, that yes, the SFA selected a previous location. The Mililani community, the Mililani High School principal, many of the teachers, the students had grave concerns about that previous location located at Meheula Parkway and Ho'okelewa'a Street. We, as a board, received over 150 people in testimony on an October, which we did not predict. And there were a lot of upset people. We worked with the state regarding that. We voted as a board on a resolution to move, supporting the movement of this location or this facility to the preferred location as directed and as shared by the Mililani High School principal, the Mililani High School teachers, the staff, and the students, and even community residents on Ho'okelewa'a Street. That this was the general preference to move this site. We voted on that. We do support the affordable teacher workforce housing project in Mililani. We voted on that. And we are working together. I do believe that the Mililani High School principal, and with collaboration with the state, the School Facilities Authority has worked with the athletic community in regards to the athletic noise concerns that has come up. But I mean, as we all have known as long time residents of the Mililani community, we can hear the football field all the way down at the Ag Park, right? And we can hear it down at the by Rec 2 and all around Mililani. So while those concerns are valid, right? So many of us as residents of Mililani have heard the athletics, and I think that that's what makes Mililani, where we coexist as residents, supporting our students, supporting our school, and supporting athletics. So I do want to just remind everyone that we did take votes on this issue. We did pass a resolution supporting this initiative as a board. I do want to close it soon. Member Ross, you said you have a question. If there are any questions for the Mililani community and members of the public, please raise your hand. Otherwise, I'd like to move on and close it out with a few more questions. So, ma'am, go ahead, and then Member Ross, and then we'll close.
I'm Rhonda. I'm the community. And now that I've never heard about this situation at all before this. So, but I think this is what.
I'm sorry to interject. We cannot hear her online. She needs to talk
Sorry,
louder.
I was just
Thank you.
making, I was just verifying that I'm looking at the right map. And if that's where it is, as a community person, I am concerned about that U-turn because I use that all the time to get to the post office. And that is a serious concern. Okay.
Noted. Member Ross.
Sorry. So, from what I'm hearing is you guys did a traffic study for what is required for what the state has impacted and what you guys have said. But you have said, not you, Sherry, but the members of your that you brought here, all have stated, yes, we completely understand that one, we're going to be opening up a brand new lane that turns left, which technically doesn't really exist, but it kind of exists. And there's already a sign for it saying that no large trucks are allowed to use it. But that's not part of your study. We are going to be having people, once that opens up, right, now we're going to increase the traffic in that specific area to now making U-turns and all the rest of this stuff, not just turning left anymore, right, to opening up just to your community. It is now already having a U-turn and now adding on to a left-hand turn lane. So I completely understand this is going to cost more money, and the question is, but I think the overwhelming question is, if you guys are going to state that you guys all completely understand and completely can see through the fact that there will be people using that turn that we're now unhashing to make U-turns to the one USPS office that we have that everybody goes to mail stuff out, is it unreasonable to ask for an additional traffic study to include the potential of all those individuals who already make that U-turn to the post office? That makes sense? So any SFA, PFA, any of you guys, I know you guys are doing
I'm sorry.
everything that's required, but I was just wondering, is it unreasonable?
Thank you. Let them answer the question.
I forgot to unmute. It's a good question, and what I'd like to do is, given your comments, if we can provide a written response in like a couple days, by early next week, and then just explain some of the questions, try to provide more thorough answers to your questions. Can we get back to you? Okay, appreciate it. Thank you very much, and thanks all for your time. I really appreciate it.
As far as, let's get back to the draft EA, right? And to just instruct on process. Thank you so much, Vincent. In terms of let's zoom out to the whole draft EA that was submitted for public review, right? There's a 30-day comment period. It's open to all of the public, and the public can provide response, comment, accolades, suggestions, ideas, questions through that avenue as well. Within the 30 days by, what was the date? Monday, February 23rd. Okay. I'm going to repeat that what we did with the pre-assessment, we provided, this actually fell outside of our regular monthly meetings. And so we're not going to be voting on anything, but what I'm trying to do is accommodate the Mililani community and the public. So if there are questions and concerns like those received today, we will submit as a board, it will be signed by me, right? Another letter to SFA, PBR, Pacific Housing, summarizing these questions. Sounds to me like there's a lot of traffic questions, PBR, for Mehuala Parkway, specifically at the curb cut. And if there are additional questions, you know, we want to be open and transparent and work with the state. So we're going to be putting that in a letter as well. So I would encourage board members to email me your questions so that I can provide or summarize them and provide them to the state and PBR before their deadline. I kindly ask for that to be submitted the Friday before the 23rd, so I have the weekend to write up that letter with the neighborhood board letterhead so that we can give that to PBR and the rest of the state. And again, if you don't want to go that way, you as a member of the public can submit your own comments and suggestions as well. So you don't have to go through us, you could just give it to them. Okay. We spent ample time on this. It's now 8 p.m. I want to close the conversation on this. We have presentations to get on to. Thank you so much, Sherry. Thank you to Pacific Housing. Thank you to PBR for all being available and online to answer these questions. We appreciate it.
Mahalo, Chair, and thank you.
Mahalo.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to move on to the approval of meeting minutes. I'd like to recognize our board secretary, Sabrina Gustafson, for the meeting minutes of Wednesday, November 19th, 2025 for approval.
The minutes for the November 19th meeting were sent out with the agenda. I didn't receive any corrections. Does anybody have any corrections here on the floor? If not, I move to approve.
Rachel for the vote.
Okay. Since there's no amendments by anybody, is this working here? Okay. We'll approve the minutes for November as written.
Great.
Thank you.
Moving on to community concerns. At this time, are there any community members who would like to come forward to express any comment or concern within decorum on items not listed on this agenda? Please limit your comments to 3 minutes per issue on those items. Seeing and hearing none, thank you. We're going to move on to presentations. I'd like to welcome Maisha from the Mililani YMCA to give a brief overview on the Mililani YMCA 5K Fun Run coming up in April. Welcome.
Aloha. Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. My name is Maisha. I work for the Mililani YMCA. I'm here to present that we will be having our annual 5K Fun Run. The date for our run is set for Saturday, April 18th. Check-in for the run is at 6 a.m. The run starts at 7:15, and it is a family event, so all is welcome to participate. And I just sent you guys a copy of the route. Would you guys have any questions for me this evening?
Members of the board, members of the community, are there any questions for Maisha at this time? Please raise your hand. Okay. Seeing and hearing none. Thank you. Okay. Moving on, I'd like to welcome the City and County of Honolulu's Recycling Program Branch Manager Henry Gabriel and his team from the Department of Environmental Services to make a presentation on the GROW pilot program. Over to you, Henry.
Thank you. Good evening, Chair. Good evening, members, and good evening to the community. So I'm going to give a short presentation. This has to do with the green cart on the automated system. So next slide, please. Oh, you went. Yeah, okay. So the purpose of this presentation is really to just introduce, educate what is new that's going to be added to the green composting cart. I'm just going to provide a brief overview, and it's a pilot program for 6 months. Mililani is in the pilot, and then after the 6 months, we're going to go island wide with this. Next slide, please. So what is changing? Food scrap, wasted food, you will be able to put in these items in your green composting cart. Right now, it's currently green waste. All of this green waste is delivered to our city contractor, Hawaiian Earth Recycling in Wahiawa. We want that food waste to be mixed with that green waste and then delivered to Wahiawa. It's a full diversion. We want to divert that organic material from the waste stream. So once again, it's going to start April 1st, 2026. And then the areas that are participating is Waipahu, Nanakuli, Hawaii Kai, Mililani, Kailua, and Kalihi. Once again, once we go 6 months, after the 6 months, we're going to go island wide with this. GROW stands for Green Recycling Organic Waste. That is good. That is the name of this program. The slogan, and you're going to hear this, include the food. It's always going to be include the food. Include the food with the green waste. Next slide, please. So what can go in your green waste, green composting cart? It's pretty extensive compared to other municipalities. The reason being is we want all of it. Fruits, vegetables, dairy products, semi-solid, solids. Those are your yogurts and cheese, breads, baked goods, pasta, rice, meat, seafood, bones, leftover and spoiled food, table scraps, and then loose coffee ground and tea grounds, along with your normal green waste, that being your grass clippings, your branches, hedges, and palm fronds and natural Christmas trees. Next slide, please. What cannot go into the green bin, green compost bin? This one is out of all of that list right there. Liquids is probably by far of what we don't want in that green composting bin. But you got paper products, plastic, metal, and glass. Those are your containers. We just want the content. So if you have spoiled mayonnaise, we want the mayonnaise in the green composting bin. That lid is going to be a number 5, polypropylene. That goes into your trash cart. And then whether it's glass or plastic, if it's a plastic, normally it's the number 1 that goes into your blue cart. Fat, oil, grease. If you're saving all of that in a jar, we would prefer that to be absorbed and thrown in your trash. Manufacturer compostable products. These are things that when you go out and buy plate lunch, you'll see a lot of this. It says compostable on it. We aren't accepting that in the green composting bin at this time. We're working with Hawaiian Earth and the Department of Health to figure out what the thresholds are for PFAS. And then pet waste, coffee cups, takeout containers, fast food wrappers, quarts, dirt, rocks, and plant pots. This list might be kind of okay, yeah, it doesn't belong in there, but this is what we see. This is what Hawaiian Earth sees. When we go to Hawaiian Earth and we're looking at a load from that we picked up, we'll see dirt, we'll see rocks, we'll see a garden hose. And so just want to make sure that we keep the contamination low. Next slide, please. So how will residents participate? Oh, is this drop off? How will residents participate? So we're going to be providing kitchen counter containers, as long as we're going to also have these community workshops. So we'll be providing kitchen counter containers, reusable silicone bags. That way you can freeze it if you have room in your freezer night before or the morning of. That's when you'll put your food waste into the green composting bin. And what's most important is that you layer it. A lot of people are telling me that, oh, it's going to smell or it's going to attract rodents. But if you layer it, if you just put green waste first, put your food waste in, especially if you don't have freezer room, and then you put green waste over it, you're going to decrease the odors so long as the lid is closed. So that's going to be important in all of this. Next slide. And then can residents drop off? Yes, you can bring food waste. You can bring food waste, green waste to Hawaiian Earth at no charge. And our policy is 2 loads per day. And then also that last bullet, city transfer stations, convenience centers will not be accepting food waste. It's going to be green waste only. So this pilot, this island-wide program is for only those that are on the automated trash collection system. Next slide. So what happens to the food waste? Just like the green waste, we're going to collect it. We're going to deliver it to Hawaiian Earth. They're going to be utilizing an in-vessel composting system. Right now, if you do go to Hawaiian Earth, they do a windrow system. This one is going to be totally different. If you've gone there recently, you've seen the construction. That is the receiving bay. They've got concrete pads, and then they have this gore system that they're going to use to then process the green waste, food waste into a compost. Next slide. And the real reason the city and county is doing it is diversion from the landfill. A lot of the food waste that's being thrown into the gray cart goes straight to waste to energy. Then from there, that ash residue is going to the landfill. That is a linear approach. What we're trying to do is divert that material, the organic material, get it to a composter. So that way, now we can then purchase this compost and then amend our soil, grow plants and things like that. So we're trying to take a circular approach instead of this linear approach. Next slide, please. And then between now and April 1st, we are going to be going to neighborhood boards. We have our web page up. The last slide will show you where our web page is on Grow. We'll have FAQ documents. We'll have brochures. Like I mentioned, public workshops in the piloted areas, social media. So be on the lookout. Whenever you see Grow, green recycling organic waste, we want your food waste. And I forgot to mention 60,000 tons is what we estimate that's in our residentially generated, that's in our waste stream now. So we also have to think, why are we wasting food? Why is there 60,000 tons being generated? So the hope is that the next waste characterization study will see a drop in that. I think the next slide is the last slide, and I'm open to any questions.
All right, members of the board, members of the community, are there any questions regarding this presentation? Oh, wow. Okay.
All right.
All right. We're firing it off. Kate Ozawa, followed by Dennis Kim, who's been quiet.
I was wondering if you had any social media graphics we could share on our social media pages just to make the community more aware of this program.
Yes, we can talk with the ENV's PIO, Public Information Officer, to get you some graphics.
Dennis.
Cardboard boxes, that
Yes.
goes into the green.
No, that goes into the blue.
So you
no
have-
paper products.
Oh, that goes into recycle, the blue
Yeah,
one.
the blue.
Okay.
So long as it's corrugated.
Yeah, corrugated. Okay, so the waste going into the green
Yes.
is not going to create a rodent or animal problems at the drop-off place.
That's the BMPs that we're going to teach at these community workshops. So one method is to freeze food waste. But a lot of times I hear, I don't have room in my freezer. So you can layer it. So green waste, food waste, green waste, food waste into your green cart.
Okay, one final question.
Yeah.
The plastic bags you use to put vegetables in when you go to the store,
Yes.
that can be put into the green.
No bags. It's going to be put
So
in
you
loose.
dump it out?
You
Or
dump
put
it
in
out.
your
Yes.
Containers.
Yes. The kitchen containers is really just a holding device to then put it into your freezer or straight into your green composting cart.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Ed, followed by Mary Smart. Ed, go ahead. Got a lot of questions.
Yeah, I think this is a really great program.
Thank you.
And just two really brief questions. And number one is, I know restaurants don't have regular green bin. Is there going to be an effort to reach out to restaurants for this initiative?
So the city and county, we do have an ordinance for food waste, but it's only strictly for large generators of food waste. We did a pilot in Chinatown utilizing the medium size and the small restaurants. It was successful. So the next step for that is really to amend the existing law to then include the small and medium, restaurants to recover that food waste as well.
And my second question is just a question that I've always had in my mind. I regularly use my green bin.
Mhm.
It's like I got two of them because I have a kind of big yard. So, so my question is, the product is dropped off at Hawaiian Earth Products.
That's correct.
Yeah. And what happens is that they process it.
Mhm.
Now I'm thinking about the city. Is there any revenue generated to this, or is they just a partner with the city and they do it? In other words, because they sell that Hawaiian Earth product back to the public.
Right.
So does
right.
that generate any revenue for the city? And I hope it does.
So, the answer is no, it doesn't. It doesn't generate revenue to the city. However, and this is where landfill diversion is critical. We would rather have that green waste, that organic material outside of the waste stream for composting than bury it into the landfill.
Yeah, I agree with
Yeah.
you. And I just wondered that's why.
Yes.
Because, city could use any revenue they can get.
Yes.
Okay, Mary Smart, followed by Darsha Lee online. Go ahead, Mary.
Okay, can meat products be included in the waste?
Yes. So meat can be included. There was a question about I'm a hunter. I have shot a pig, and can the carcass, the non-edible stuff go into the green composting cart? So long as it's considered, and we consider that a food waste, then the answer is yes. There will be best management practices if you do generate a lot of food waste, and that's the layering. Mhm.
Quickly, that also includes trimmings, right? So if you have meat, fat, the meat
Yes.
fat can go in the green.
The fat, yeah, if you're trimming off the fat from the meat, yes.
Okay, Darsha, go ahead.
Yes.
Darsha. All right.
Very excited about this pilot project. My question is, how big is a load? Because you mentioned 2 load limit per day.
So truckloads, so standard pickup truck. Now, if you're generating that much food waste, there's a problem. It's a lot of food waste. But in general, it's a standard pickup truck of a mixture of green waste and food waste. And that's the current policy we have for green waste right now.
Okay, additional questions. Emil, Mary, Anne Fried, Martina.
Just a quick question. Do you have a budget for this? Are you going to be hiring more people to do the sorting, I guess? I mean, if you have a palm leaf with the mayonnaise and, eggshells with it, I mean, why don't you just get some plastic bag where we can keep the food separate from the rest? Yeah, I mean, what about dead pets, for example? That's
So yeah. That's not a food waste though. Yeah, it's strictly for food waste. We went through the RFP process, the request for proposal process, the city procurement system, and there were 2 bidders, and Hawaiian Earth and Island Topsoil. Hawaiian Earth was the awarded the contract. And yes, there is a cost to this. It doesn't fall on it does fall on the city to pay for the service. But like I mentioned, landfill diversion is very key in anything that and how we manage solid waste.
Extra person sorting the stuff from the green waste? Or?
I don't want to speak on behalf of Hawaiian Earth, but they will have, whether it be mechanized or people actually decontaminating. And the reason why you mentioned plastic bags, that is a contamination right now. And we don't want to introduce that or continue to introduce that with this new contract. So we want to minimize, especially at the source, the amount of contamination that's being put into the green composting bin.
Okay. Anne.
Okay, first of all, yay.
No, thank you.
I mean, we live on an island in the middle, this island in the middle of the Pacific, and land is scarce, and this has been a problem for a long time. So it's long overdue. So thanks, sir. So as a military activity, I spent a lot of time in New York City, and New York has been doing this for a very long time. And so a couple of questions is enforcement. They have fines because I live in a $284 door condominium high-rise community, and we have 1 green waste bin. So I'm assuming, part 1 question is what are you going to do about enforcement? Part 2 question is, what is your vision for high-rise condo communities?
So as far as enforcement, once it starts, we're going to be flipping lids. We're going to look at contamination. We're going to look at frequency. We're going to look at volume. Hopefully, it's increased. We will also be going to Hawaiian Earth, doing the same thing, looking at a truckload, see what type of material is being put into the green composting cart or the truck itself. From there, we'll utilize that data to then re-educate communities on proper items that should go in there. We're not looking to fine anybody. We're really just trying to educate people on sort separation of waste in general. Your second question regarding high-rise buildings, apartment complex, and condos, because most of those are privately serviced, we have to find a way to work with the private haulers to be able to collect that organic material, whether it's green waste or food waste, and deliver it to Hawaiian Earth. We don't have the city doesn't, the city's contract is only for the curbside collection. So that will be a separate issue in the future that we'll have to figure out how to deal with.
Okay, well, it just so happens my community is on your, we had to go through a whole thing to get city, but we have city collections. So that's one. But I just want to make an observation that without enforcement, and this goes for everything, there will be those who are going to abuse. So anyway, that's just my observation.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, we understand that. We do understand that. We've tried to pull bins, but I would rather, that causes illegal dumping. So I would rather work with the community to educate them versus trying to find them.
Looks like we have 3 more questions from board members. Martina, followed by Karumi, and then Catherine. Go ahead, Martina.
2 questions.
Yes.
So with current food waste that is in green bins currently, what happens to that waste?
So the only food waste that you can put into the green bins right now is fruits and vegetables. And that's pre-consumer now. So those are your cuttings and things like that. So it goes directly to Hawaiian Earth. They windrow it into compost and then they sell their material. Mm-hmm.
And then the second question is, you mentioned no bags.
Yes.
Or like food containers. What if they say they're compostable?
So the compostable material, we are very concerned with PFAS and plant uptake. So that's why we're trying to delay that. It is in ordinance for us to accept it curbside, but we're working with the state and Hawaiian Earth to make sure that there are no plant uptakes of PFAS.
Sorry, one more follow-up.
Yeah.
Would that include the cellulose, like peanut packaging, like filler?
Any paper product that is labeled compostable.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Karumi.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, but the profit gained would be to a private entity who has been given a contract by the city, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So my second concern is that composting has caused a major problem with the CRB. And CRB, for those of you who are wondering what that is, that's the infestation of the coconut rhinoceros beetle. And I did firsthand witness this devastation because we were getting free compost from an entity going down towards the North Shore as a farmer. And we were using it around our plants. And to this day, all of our coconut trees have died, dozens of them. And so the result of it was that they were all in the composting material that we got for free as donations, very generous. However, it ruined our farm. So how do you stop something like this from happening?
So there's 2 things that the city is doing, and I'm involved in both of these things. So the city will be coming up with a CRB plan. We were funded by the state. We have a consultant on board, and we'll be working with city departments who handle green waste. So that way there are best management practices to further spread the coconut rhinoceros beetle. Hawaiian Earth, they are trained by the USDA, and there are representatives here today that can probably go into more detail to ensure that they are not spreading CRB in their compost. They go through this rigorous process to ensure that CRB is not, their facility is not a breeding ground for CRB. Now, I do understand that, you know, if mulch is left out there, these are your big pieces. That's what they want. But what HER is doing, Wine Earth Recycling is doing, is they're processing this material. They're heating it up. They're enclosing it with the GORE system. And on top of that, they're likely looking to see if there's any CRB larvae in their compost. So they are properly trained to handle CRB.
Catherine.
Yes,
No,
I can hear you.
please use the microphone.
Currently, last year I had leasing a farm, and so I would take my vegetable cuttings and fruit peels. But now I surrendered my farm, so I've been bagging and throwing it in the gray bin. So now I can't understand why I can't use the plastic.
The compostable, whether it be compostable or just plastic bags. Is that the issue?
You know, the bags that you get from the grocery store. Why would it be a contamination? So now I have to, after I bag it, I'll wait for the green bin and then dump it in there. I don't know.
It's so
hard for me to understand that.
yeah, no. I totally understand. It's an option that the city provides. So you can still, and we're not encouraging this, but you can still put it into the gray bin. It's just going to end up at H Power and there's no value to it. Right. And like I mentioned, the bigger picture is landfill diversion, waste diversion. But if you take the time and you put it into a plastic bag, because that's probably the most convenient thing, all you're doing is you're dumping it into your green bin instead of your gray bin. We just want it in loose. Then if you think about it even more, you just reuse that bag to do it one more time. So there's the, will you put time and effort into it, or will you just gonna bag it up, throw it into the gray bin? So it's just an option for residents.
Final question, Member Ross.
Sorry, 2 questions real quick.
Yes.
First, so I live in Mililani. I just drive my stuff straight to Waipi'o anyway. Is any of, when this goes statewide or citywide, same thing still when I go to HER, right? I'm going to be able to drop off 2 loads. I'll be able to still pick up. I'm guessing they'll have a new product, probably one that has all the food waste and one that doesn't have the food waste for when I turn over for dirt and stuff like that, and things like that. Like, I know it's going to be a little bit, but do they have any information that they can give us on, like, if there's any changes coming up or what they're looking at entailing for doing this? And then my second question is, you said no grease for like things that are liquids and stuff like that. Well, there's a product online where you could just throw stuff inside grease and, you know, it becomes solid.
Right.
And then solid is supposed to, I'm guessing, still go into the gray bin.
That's
not that, because it's not like 100% organic and stuff like that, which is the reason why you're saying that combustible or compostables right now you don't want, but later on that could change.
Could change, yes.
Okay.
It's just on the compostables is the PFAS issue.
Okay.
The oil that you're talking about will accept residual oils from your pan, which is normally a small amount. But if you're just putting it into a container, and it's just, you know, we would prefer you absorb it, throw it into the trash.
Okay.
Because it's in liquid form at that point.
Or you could just put the stuff inside of it, make it solid,
and then throw it into the trash as well.
But then for HER, nothing changes, right? And they're gonna sell, I'm guessing, a second product or something like that, or how they're doing it, or that just information to come.
That is information to come. There are representatives here. We've got Blaine and Ross. They're from Hawaiian Earth. But I'll try to explain it. If I don't do a good job, then you guys can can come up here. They will separate the two. So they'll have green waste, strictly green waste on one side, and then they'll have the green waste, food waste on the other side. They're going to be producing two different products. And one is going to be certified organic, one is going to be non-certified organic. The free mulch that you probably take will be, chances are, just green waste only. Green waste mulch as well. 2 tons of what?
They say it's still 2 trips, but
the city allows 2 pickup trucks. If that is 2 tons, that is 2 tons. We just say 2 pickup trucks.
Thank you so much, Henry, for being available for all of these questions. I think our board is very excited, and that's reflective of our whole community, right? I
Yes.
think Mililani is a great area to pilot this, and thank you for opening up this pilot to the Mililani community. I think we're pumped and jazzed. Some of us have probably been putting some food waste in the green bin already. Some of us
Oh, that's
want
good.
to have some more specifics, and a lot of us go to Hawaiian Earth, it sounds like. So
Yeah.
thank you for being here and
You're welcome.
answering 30 minutes worth of questions.
Not a problem. I am a Mililani resident. I do live off Lani Kuhana, and for the record, I can hear the football games from my house. I can hear it. So thank you all. Thank you again.
Mahalo. All right, members, it's 8:30. I do want to be mindful of everyone's time. Hopefully we can adjourn at 9. We're going to go into reports of chairs and board committees. I have no report other than just reminding you, if you have comments you want me to send to SFA on behalf of the board, Friday, I looked it up, Friday, February 20th, send them to me before that day so I can throw it in and give it to SFA on Monday. Okay? That completes my report. Any questions? Known. Okay, we're going to move on to Kate Ozawa for community partnerships and community outreach.
I want to apologize to member Ross. I got to his request only just now after 2 months. But I just have posted the neighborhood boardwalk on our Instagram. And once the lovely people who just presented give me social media graphics, I will post those as well.
Questions to Kate, members? Seeing and hearing none. Moving on to community recognition service awards, Josie.
No report, thank you.
No report. Moving on to community maintenance and walk audit, co-chairs Ken Inouye and Skylar Ross. Any report?
No
I'm
report,
glad
waiting
to.
on-
See,
Yeah,
I'm
go ahead,
glad
Ken.
to see that. I'm glad to see that one of the things that we we got a complaint about has been addressed on Mehiula Parkway in the last week or two.
And we still have 2 more requests waiting on the city and county's response today.
Okay. Moving on to planning, zoning, sustainable development, climate resilience, Trevor.
So I do have a brief report, and it pertains to something that's like a family matter for me, which is that my brother was fortunate enough to purchase a house in Coral Ridge recently, and he closed on it last month, and he is now moved in. So just very briefly, like as the vice chair of this neighborhood board and Madam Chair, as your zoning, planning, and sustainable development chair, I'm extremely grateful that Coral Ridge was able to be built and provide him that this opportunity to have his own place with his girlfriend now. And yeah, and again, it's the kind of workforce housing that we desperately need more of in Hawaii. He works as a respiratory therapist for Kaiser Mauna Loa, and yeah, like I mean, it means he can stay here and still have dinner with my mom from time to time. Thank you.
Thank you, Trevor, for sharing that information. Mahalo. Are there any questions for Trevor? Okay. Seeing and hearing none. Congratulations to your brother. I'm glad to hear that we're keeping locals in Hawaii. Moving on to transportation and Oahu MPO, Ed. Okay, sounds great. Thank you so much. We're going to go to Dennis for military affairs and emergency management.
Sorry. No report, but I was talking to the captain and Stewart, who is a sergeant in the PR department, and about getting a trip or a visit to the helicopter aviation battalion facilities. But it looks like it's not going to be until March or April.
Okay.
Yeah, just so you know.
Okay, we'll plan for that. Thank you, Dennis. Darsha for Health, Houselessness, and Human Services.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to follow up with the, I think it was Board Member Gustafson brought up a concern that had been brought up in October's meeting. I did look back at that meeting. It sounds like it was addressed to HPD, and it was the concern about that the Rainbow Tunnel, which is off of Hakupokano Loop in Mililani. And it sounded like HPD really did address that issue. The issues that they were talking about were more of the like safety concerns. So if there are safety concerns, I would concur with what HPD said, which was please call the police for a safety concern. I have been driving around that area. My last time that I drove was nighttime, and that was today. I did not see any cars with no plates. The tunnel looked clear, so I think whatever HPD is doing is working, but of course, if something else does come up, I would encourage community members, please call. And I just wanted to make sure if there was something else that Board Member Gustafson had wanted beyond what HPD mentioned, I'm happy to try to answer the question.
No, she's shaking her head no. Thank you.
Okay,
Are there any
thank you.
additional questions for Darsha at this time? I see Marilyn followed by Mary Smart, then Dennis. Oh, poor Darsha.
Thanks, Madam Chair. Darsha, I was just wondering, with the point in time count just recently, was that conducted?
Darsha, are you able to hear us?
I'm sorry, I think that cut out. I heard point in time count was that, and that was the end of what
Was
I heard.
that conducted in the Mililani area this year?
I would have to follow up with the Kealoha West Oahu, which would be the community service provider for houseless outreach in our area. And I can let you know.
Okay. I walk around Mililani in the mornings between 7 and 8. There's this one individual who has been sleeping like on the seat for the bus up at Kuahalani and Mehu'ula, and once in a while down on Holani Ali'i. If someone asked what you should do, I thought you call HPD 911 and say non-emergency, but are you asking us to contact you for that type of thing? No. Okay. Just continue doing what we were doing.
Go ahead, Darsha.
Hi, Mary. Thank you for asking. So I think I would categorize it into, is this a safety concern or is this just somebody who is having an unfortunate situation and they don't have a place to live? If it's a safety concern, yes, please do call HPD 911 because we don't want anyone getting hurt. If we're looking at something where someone's just unhoused, they don't have a place to live, that would be, you can definitely text me or call me. If I'm home, I will happily go out and speak with them. And then I would contact Kealoha West Oahu, which is our service provider in our area.
Thank you.
Dennis?
My question was the same as Marilyn's, and that was about the point in time count that's done in this month. Two things. One, I heard that they're going to switch it to every other year program. And the second would be, what would be the count for this past date, or has the numbers come out, or when will it come out?
Yes. So for the first part of your question, I did also hear that they were planning to do every other year. I think that was related to like funding concerns and also having enough volunteers for the point in time count. I can follow up to see if that is still the plan. For the second part, it does take a while to compile all the data because they do ask a number of questions for each of the individuals. And I think last year, I want to say it was like at least summer before we got the results back. But as soon as I see results and the compiled data, I'll make sure to share it out to the board.
Thank you, Darsha. Okay. I believe that completes your report in the question and comment period. And we're going to move on to Sabrina for Parks and Recreation.
So as everybody knows, in our November meeting, this board approved the establishment of 3 dog-friendly leashed parks, Mililani District Park, 10 Acres, and the Kipapa Neighborhood Park. The Departments of Recs is going to announce in February our 3 parks along with 3 dozen other parks across the island that are going to be now dog friendly for dogs on leashes. So that's exciting news for us. Signs should be posted by end of February, beginning of March timeframe. So check out those parks and dogs can go there. However, Chair Bass, Nate said that he hasn't received a copy of your letter yet. So if we could forward that to him. I don't know where it's at right now.
Sent it in December. Okay. Okay.
But he just asked if we could forward it to him.
Okay.
Okay,
yeah.
perfect. Thank you.
All right. Any questions for Sabrina, folks? Seeing and hearing none. Last but not least, Marilyn for education.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I do have a brief report, but not that brief. I did pass out a couple of flyers that were put out by the Mililani Public Library. And both of these are quite interesting. And I think particularly the book club gathering on February 2nd, which would be a discussion of the anxious generation. And that is Jonathan Haidt is one of the persons that brought up the cell phone problem and technological damage linked to psychological and neurological things that are happening to children. So I suggest that you go to this if you can, and especially since the legislature is considering a cell phone ban in schools. Don't worry, they're not going to take yours. And then on Saturday, March 7th, there'll be this a talk about the World War II experiences of Hawaii's Japanese. And this is a recently published book by a woman whose name is Kelly Nakamura. And I think that will be a really interesting one to attend. The library is trying hard to do some service to the community, and this book club is one of the things. By the way, the next book sale is February, excuse me, 21st. And it starts at 9 and ends at 2, and there will be a good selection of books. But if you'd like to donate, you can, but please do not donate technical books or school books, anything that has to do with studying. Things that we want are novels and children's books and books that had to do with culture and the arts. Okay, and then on to Mililani High School. I do want to mention that the enrollments, by the way, in all of Mililani are going down, but right now they are not going down. They have 2,221 and 25 and 2,750 in 26 enrolled. And graduation this year will take place on May 24th. And the second Wednesday in May will be the Golden Scholars Night, which is a very exciting night when the students who have done really well academically receive scholarships. Then I have a report from Principal Kardash at Mililani-Waipi'o Uka, Uka, who always responds to my requests for news from the schools. And they are having what's called a STEAM night and book fair. And STEAM is what's STEM and art together. They combine that to make STEAM. And that will be January 30th from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. This sounds like a good thing. Free interactive STEM and art activities for students and their families. And Mililani Middle will also be showcasing their clubs because the fifth graders will be going on to the middle school in a while. And there will be a variety of food trucks. And there will be the annual Scholastic Book Fair, and that'll be on campus as well. The new club starting in this quarter, and I think Mililani-Uka always has these interesting clubs, and the ones they have starting this quarter are the Sea Perch Club, underwater robotics program sponsored by the Coast Guard. That should be really interesting. The Sphero Indie Club robotics program for lower grade students. The Art Club, that's a new group of students, and they're starting to prepare for the tournament in March with their basketball team. And that is the end of my report, and I'd be glad to answer any questions.
Thank you so much, Marilyn. Members of the board, are there any questions for Marilyn and her report? Seeing and hearing none, thank you. We're going to move on to elected officials' reports. First up, we have Congressman Case. I don't see Nestor online, so we're going to go ahead and move on unless there's another representative for Congressman. Okay. And next we have Tony representing the governor's office here this evening. Welcome, Tony.
Thank you. I'll keep this quick for the sake of time. Governor Josh Green Monday delivered his final State of the State address for his first term, doubling down on the priorities he has continued to pursue since he took office, a values-driven plan to lower the cost of living, build housing at a historic scale, reduce homelessness, strengthen healthcare, and protect Hawaii's environment for future generations. The address highlighted 3 years of progress from tax cuts and housing production to healthcare expansion and Maui recovery. And it laid out a forward-looking agenda to ensure every family in Hawaii can afford to live, work, and thrive in the islands here that they call home. So key initiatives and accomplishments were highlighted in his address. I'm not going to go into all of them, but I'll just list them. Lowering the cost of living, building housing at a historic scale, addressing homelessness with a healthcare approach, growing the economy and creating local jobs, protecting Hawaii's environment, and strengthening healthcare statewide. A full copy of his speech can be found on his webpage, governor.hawaii.gov, and also you can view in its entirety his speech, the video on his Facebook page. And that's what I have for tonight.
All right, thank you, Tony. Members of the board, members of the committee, are there any questions for Tony? Rudy, go ahead, followed by Mary.
On the affordability of living in Hawaii, is there currently any legislation for helping to keep the associations in check? My maintenance fee is now more than my mortgage.
I will check on that because mine is also pretty high.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
I
Go
didn't
ahead,
want to
Mary.
interrupt. So I'm going to ask you what I asked HPD. Are our police officers in the state encouraged to work with ICE? And has there been any anti-ICE activity here in the state?
So the governor has been on the record stating that local law enforcement should not be working on immigration matters as part of their regular duties. The state attorney general, in a statement backed by Green's administration, pointed out longstanding Supreme Court precedent that the federal government cannot force state or local law enforcement to enforce federal laws. So Governor Green's position is centered on keeping Hawaii police focused on local safety efforts, not federal matters.
Okay, and I understand that we're being denied federal funds because we're not enforcing federal law. And that is why we might have to have tax increases here in Hawaii?
Actually, we've saved over almost $1 billion in funding that would have been taken away by a lot of the legislation, the litigation that's happened to counter a lot of the measures that have come out on the federal side. So we have not seen a decrease in our funding at this time, mostly.
Okay, but I do hear that the cuts that were approved you're thinking of not giving us the cuts. Is that true?
I'll ask about that, but it was the incentives you're talking about, right? The tax cuts. Yeah.
That's
think
great news that we haven't lost a lot of federal revenue.
most of it has been restored or that they haven't looked our way.
Wonderful. Any other questions for the governor's office? Emil, go ahead.
I'm not sure if it's, I hope it's a question towards the Department of Transportation. I'm talking on, community concern, basically. There is a Kamehameha Highway going down from, I think it's a Waipi'o Uka Street, going south to the H1 freeway. And on the left side, if you go south, east side of Kamehameha Highway is a wall. And I wonder if that's the wall which is also part of the highway, meaning it's maintained by the Department of Transportation. Somebody painted the wall with all sorts of colors. And it looks like, there was some leftover paint and somebody got ideas and just paint and paint and paint. I mean, it doesn't belong to the neighborhood. I mean, in my opinion, people are kind of wondering what happened because it was green. Suddenly it became this multicolor something, I wouldn't call it art, but anyway. So that's something I would like to find out who authorized that and how much did it cost taxpayers.
Which wall was that? I'm trying to get a
This
picture.
is
in
a
my head.
large wall south of Waipi'o Gentry going all the way past
Way to the
Preston
freeway.
towards LCC. I can answer that question
Okay.
if you'd like. It's actually a very exciting project that DOT, and they announced it in their report that they gave me to read off last year. So DOT collaborated with our state senator, Senator Kirani, as well as I believe the representative down in Crestview Seaview. So the state representative is Corey Chun. This is a project that they collaborated with, welcomed over, I believe it was 100 students from Mililani High School, Pearl City High School, and Waipahu High School. And those students from the Hawaii Department of Education, these high schools, our own community, and the Department of Transportation, they closed off so that they could have the students make that art down there. And they had HPD making sure that those students were protected as they actually painted that wall to reduce graffiti. So I believe that's what the project was.
Because
Yeah.
it looks like graffiti to me, but anyway, doesn't matter. I wonder how much did we spend on that, because, it looks like it was even community consulted. I mean, did they propose what they're going to do before they did it? Or is anybody approving this, or it is just?
I'm not familiar with that, but I know Ed Sniffen, when we asked questions about the noise camera for this board, he did let us know in that report I read off that that project was going on, but I don't know the specifics as to
So,
cost.
if you can find out how much did we pay for that, and
Okay.
and also what the community, if the
Thank
community
you.
had to say something before they did it.
I
because
think,
it
yeah.
looks like it doesn't fit. But there's one more thing about traveling throughout the state on state highways. There are those boards which are supposed to show us some messages. I would expect that there would be some messages which are traffic related, like traffic jam somewhere, whatever, use this, whatever. But lately I noticed there are some messages which are kind of like, in my opinion, very low IQ, like don't be a stinker, use one blinker, or every accident is 6 or 7 seconds away. I mean, it's totally destructive, because why would I worry about something which they are bringing up from some statistics, which has nothing to do with the current situation, if there is a traffic jam or whatever. But who is authorizing this type of messaging to the general public? That's all. I yield.
Any final questions for the governor's office at this time, members of the board, members of the community? A question? Go ahead, Marilyn. Last question.
Yeah, thank you for coming tonight. I just wanted to, I know that the governor's been very active in his concern about measles epidemic on the mainland, and the fact that it seems the Department of Health, the National Department of Health, if that's what it's called, is being very negative about vaccines. And I wondered if we were still members of that consortium that was formed a few months ago, and what their activity is.
We'll ask about that and get back to you.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Madam Chair.
All right, Tony, thank you so much. Next up, Jocelyn is here online representing our mayor, Mayor Blangiardi. Thank you, Jocelyn.
Aloha, everybody. Hau'oli makaikiho. Happy New Year. I hope everybody had a nice holiday. Some highlights from the administration we wanted to share tonight. The new chief of ocean safety was sworn in recently, Kurt Lager. The commission selected Kurt, who had been acting chief prior to his official selection. We've also started construction on the second floor building at the existing Waianae police station to expand some workforce space for HPD. I also wanted to share about the doubling water sensible rebates, but Kathleen did an amazing job. So just want to encourage everyone to take a look at that. The city's been excited to partner with BWS on that. With regards to the follow-ups requested by the board at our last meeting, there was a request for us to check on root exposure issues on Mehe'ula Parkway. A resident had shared that there were trees in the median area with exposed roots that were tearing up the asphalt. So DFM has already started performing work along Mehe'ula Parkway. They started in the lower portion near Safeway, and will continue to do that work until they get to Moka. There was also a request for us to follow up on buckling pavement on Mehe'ula Parkway in Keaulani Street, and DFM's also starting that work already as well. And then the last item was about damaged sidewalks on I think it's Kohelani and Lanikuhana Avenue to Alapoi. Actually learned something new from this question, so thank you for submitting it. So apparently when we, so DFM has initiated a request to DPP to do an inspection there. I learned that when DFM receives sidewalk uplift complaints, they actually have to first send it to DPP so DPP can assess what the cause is. So if it's a city tree or it can't be determined what the cause is, then DFM, a work order is put in for DFM to take care of it. If it's a private tree or caused by some other private property, DPP actually issues a notice of violation to the owner, and the property owner can either repair it themselves or authorize the city to do so, and then the city will send the owner a bill. So with regards to the specific location that we were provided, DFM's asked DPP to take a look at it so that DPP can assess what the cause was. And that's it.
Thank you, Jocelyn. Members of the board, members of the public, are there any questions for the mayor's representative tonight? Dennis, go ahead.
I just want to relay to the mayor. Thank you for starting to repave the North Shore Highway. Kamehameha Highway has been rough, particularly going down into Waimea Bay. So thank you for starting that, and I hope to finish up soon.
Mahalo.
Other questions? Rudy, followed by Mary, followed by Skylar. Go ahead, Rudy.
Okay, I have the same question about, do you have any legislation on associations at this time and what that looks like?
With regards to maintenance fees? Is that what your question? I was listening earlier. I just wanted to make sure that's what your question was. Not that I am aware of. I actually don't. I'm unfamiliar if the city actually has regulatory authority over HOAs. I'm unaware of that as being an issue. I know there are lots of state discussions about HOAs, but I am unaware. So I'm happy to go ahead and ask if somebody else might know, but I'm not familiar with anything. And I just attended the council meeting today, the full council meeting today, and I didn't notice anything about that as well.
Mary, go ahead.
Okay, I've put in several incidents of the sidewalks being uplifted, and I never know if I should resubmit them after a certain length of time. So that's one question. And I also submitted, there was graffiti on the drainage ditch there on Mayula, and I didn't know if that database is the place to report that because nothing's been done about that graffiti.
Mary, are you reporting it via 311, the 311 app?
No, there's a database, a link that's on our a neighborhood board document that I click on and report it using that.
Yes, please.
So your original request was put in on November 2nd. She did state over exactly what was going on for the 2 sidewalks. I have not received any additional statements from you regarding this graffiti. So if you could go ahead and put it back in again. So that's how I respond back and forth. So that way, once I get these responses, I can send it back to the individual so that way they know what's going on. So once I get that response, or once I get the request and she'll send me back the response, I can quickly send it back to you so you can see what's going on for the status.
Okay, thank you. I didn't want to resubmit if you were already working. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Member Ross, you have a question.
The responses that you have for the Meheula as well as the sidewalk, could you email them back to me just so I have those responses so the individuals who made those requests I can email back?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
What the follow-up is, and that way if there's more follow-ups or any other questions, I can just be one-on-one contact with you. Go ahead and just email it to the neighborhood board Mililani email, and that way my co-chair can also see it as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, Josie, I see your hand is raised online. Go ahead.
Hello. Associations are going up because of the high insurance costs for them, and some insurance companies have dropped in, insurance agencies. Also, I used 311 the other day for the first time for a large hive that was on a fire hydrant. They responded within 3 hours. I was really impressed. And the third thing, I was on Kamehameha making a left turn onto Kauka Boulevard over there by the Okinawan Center. And I was the 13th car. The light would not turn for us. It stayed red. Every other rotation worked except us. I called 911. They refused to send an officer to direct traffic. So I wanted to know, is this a city policy now? They said somebody will get there when they get there. So all the cars before me and the cars after me, we all had to run the red light in order for us to get out of that lane. And I sat there for 15 minutes. Thank you.
With regards to the 311 app, I'm so glad that you used it and you got a quick response. We've actually redesigned the 311 app so that hopefully it's working better in terms of input and getting responses and actually the department's getting the information. You know, I might have to defer to DPP on the Kauka Boulevard traffic situation. I'm not sure what that is about, so and I don't know that I know what their policy is on that. So mahalo for that.
Okay. I don't see any additional questions. So thank you so much, Jocelyn. Good to see you. Happy New Year. Thank you for being here. Okay, I think we have Aaron available online from Councilmember Okimoto's office.
Hi, good evening. This is Aaron with the Office of Councilmember Okimoto. Good evening, Chair, Vice Chair, board members, and public. Happy New Year. I'm gonna try to be brief. They did get a new app. They streamlined it so you can actually do anonymous stuff now, and it will be going basically directly to the department that needs to take care of whatever issue you may have. HOAs last year we did pass legislation. I'm sorry, resolution asking the state to look into this. I think Governor Green responded and created a working group that's supposed to recommend some solutions to him about the HOA issue. Because we did hear a lot of complaints about people in Mililani whose HOAs now exceeded their mortgages. Just a couple bills of note. The final council meeting of last year was on December 3rd. They passed Bill 46, which requires the HPD to release certain public information to the media and the public. I know that bill has been kind of stalled for a few years. That finally got through. And we also are considering Bill 76, which would create a searchable online database of city revenues and expenditures that will be free and open to the public and updated at least monthly. With that, I can take back any questions.
Okay, members of the board, members of the public, are there any questions for Council Member Okimoto's office?
I just wanted to express my disappointment that Councilmember Okimoto voted in favor of Bill 54, raising the prices to use the bus. I think if you want public transportation to remain public transportation, the fees should be lower, if anything. You're just making it harder for people to get to and from where they need to be.
Okay.
I guess, will she consider voting differently in the future?
I'll have to ask. I'll have to ask her for that.
Any other questions from the members of the board, or questions or comments from the members of the public? Okay, seeing and hearing none. Thank you so much, Aaron. We're going to move on to Councilmember Wyer's office. I see Kelly is online. Go ahead, Kelly.
Aloha Chair, members of the board, Kelly Anaya from Councilmember Matt Wyer's office. Just a couple things I wanted to highlight for Councilmember. The Waipi'o soccer complex is going to be closing for field maintenance. So we do have a few months to go, but this is going to allow for the field and the facility maintenance. Although regular maintenance is conducted year-round, this dedicated closure will allow the field and the facilities to recover from the everyday wear and tear. Councilmember wanted to mahalo the Department of Parks and Recreation for their hard work in keeping this amazing facility in top shape for the community. Also, just a quick update regarding the Mount Ka'ala Gondola project. Again, thank you for the Mililani-Waipi'o board for supporting the North Shore Neighborhood Board on that. As you may have heard, DPP held a public hearing on January 12th as part of its reconsideration of the conditional use permit minor. The reconsideration is based on new information that was not available at the original approval time. But due to the volume of testimony received, DPP did request a decision timeline extension to no more than 60 days. At this report, they still have not, we have not heard back from DPP, which I'm assuming they have not heard back from the developer yet, whether or not they're going to grant the extension. So we'll be sure to keep you posted. Also just wanted to let everybody know that HPD and the Army are still working on the homeless situation on Waikalani Drive, or well, Waikalani and the Kamehameha Highway. They're anticipating sometime next month to go in and address the homeless situation. I believe somebody also mentioned something about, I don't know if it's the Kipapa Bridge, but I did hear that their HPD is looking to address that as well. I'm not sure if that's Army or whatnot, but that's also not our district. So, but I did hear that they are looking into that as well. HPD is aware of it, but whether or not whose jurisdiction that is, I'm not quite sure. So just be aware of that. And then lastly, I just wanted to highlight that Councilmember was honored to participate with the newest members of the Honolulu EMS graduates from the EMT and the EMS Dispatcher Academy. There are 25 new members, and this actually marks a historic milestone with the completion of the city's first ever EMS Dispatch Academy. So these recruits receive months of rigorous preparation from advanced 911 call taking and dispatch operations to hands-on medical training. So congratulations to them and best of luck. If anyone has any questions for council member, I can take them back.
Members of the board, members of the public, are there any questions for Council Member Wire's office? Seeing and hearing none. Thank you so much, Kelly. We'll see you
Thank
next.
you. Good night.
Good night. Okay, next up we have Trevor Nagamine representing Senator Michelle Kidani's office. Welcome, Trevor.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board, members of the public. My name is Trevor Nagamine. I'm here on behalf of Senator Michelle Kidani tonight. So as you may be aware, last week, Wednesday, was opening day for this year's legislative session. So Senator wishes to pass on her, she also wishes to pass on her Happy New Year's wishes to everyone on the board and everyone here in the room. So as the 2026 legislative session begins, her priorities for this year include creating safe and effective learning environments, enhancing school facilities, and integrating technology to better meet the diverse needs of our children. She is also focused on strengthening teacher and staff retention by developing recruitment pathways in partnership with middle and high schools, community colleges, and the University of Hawaii, and providing meaningful professional development. So this is like basically just building on the success of the Grow Your Own program, which I've talked about before in past meetings. And so ideally what Senator would like to see is just to see that see if there are other avenues to try and expand that, possibly reaching out to like existing high school, middle school students and seeing if we can start recruiting teachers from at that level, and hopefully in 10 or 15 years there'll be teachers here in this high school or in other high schools. So with that, I'd be happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Trevor. Members of the board, members of the public, are there any questions for Senator Kidani's office tonight? Emil, go ahead.
Just to follow up what I asked the governor's representative, would she know how much money was spent on painting of the wall?
That would be a question for DOT. I can get back to you on that.
Right. Thank you.
Any other questions for Senator Kidani's office? I see Darsha has her hand up. Go ahead, Darsha.
Yes, I saw in her newsletter that they did have that Ho'akea Honolulu at Sand Island with the Polynesian Voyaging Society. So I was wondering if something like that would be open to students in the Mililani area as well. It looks like a really great opportunity. So if there's more information about how that could be available in this area.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I can pass that on back to the office regarding possible outreach with the Polynesian Voyaging Society.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any additional questions to Senator Kidani's office? Catherine.
I was wondering, how come it was reported that the math scores are not as high as they would like to be, and they need professional coaches or something to help the teacher in with their math? Is she still part of the education?
She is no longer education chair as of this year. However, she does still sit on the education committee. But I mean, I'm sorry, your question is regarding professional development for teachers, or
the students in taking standardized tests, that their scores are not as high as previous years, and so now they want to hire somebody to help in with the I guess the teacher in helping these students, so that, and I was just talking to a parent the other night that they said that the teachers rush through the math lessons and the students still don't have the concept. So I was wondering, what are they doing in teaching math?
So is your question about student scores, or is your question about teachers needing assistance to teach the curriculum?
Their scores are not high. I mean, I don't know. There's certain standards that the national standard and the is I don't know how high the you know math you
Okay, I think I can try and get a response for you, although I do see Rep. LaChica is here in the audience and she has something to say about that.
Perhaps you can also ask DOE so that DOE can give a response as well onto, and of course, Representative has that, may have that information as well. But in the next meeting, if there's any information on test scores and how come and why and what are the curriculum, and
Okay.
what's the plan?
Okay.
Any final questions for Senator Kidani's office? Okay, seeing and hearing none, thank you so much, Trevor.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, next up, I see Charles Miller is online for Senator Dela Cruz's office. Go ahead.
Hi, good evening, Chair, Board, and community members. Charles Miller here from Senator Dela Cruz's office. Just a brief report. Senator spoke at the Hawaii Food System Summit at the Waihoa Value Add Product Development Center in December. And then, as previously stated, opening day was last Wednesday, January 21st. And Senator's priorities this legislative session is biosecurity and agriculture, workforce development, and regional economic development. And then the Ways and Means Committee has been conducting budget info briefings for the past month. That's all I have, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Charles. Members of the board, members of the public, are there any questions for Senator Dela Cruz's office tonight? Okay. Seeing and hearing none, thank you so much.
Thank you, Chair.
Great. I see that we have Representative Matsumoto here. Come on down.
Good evening, Chair, members of the board, members of the public. So we just had opening day. Is that last week? It's been 1 week. It's been a long week. A lot that we fit in that time. I was able to give an opening day address to the legislature on some of the priorities. Also, before I get into my report, was really interesting with the city's report on what they're going to be doing. I just got to do a tour of Hawaiian Earth today. And so it's been fascinating with that wonderful new development that they have, especially also got to visit the landfill today and seeing that we don't have much space left. And so we're having to make some decisions possibly this year. But want to go into very quickly the community report side. My family got to participate again in the Christmas parade. Got to be the Grand Marshals this year, so that was fun for my kids and I. Lots of different upcoming events that you can read in the newsletter. I do have my 2026 bill package available for you. Today was the filing deadline, so all of the bills have to be in. So all those numbers will be coming in. And so if you go to the Capitol website, you can now search all of the bills. Starting tomorrow, they should have all their numbers. I did want to just let you know, I'm not going to go through every bill just because of time, but in constituent requests at the very bottom, there's 2 that says telehealth. One at the bottom is related to real estate, the second one down. So if you see that, that's not telehealth. If you read the description's correct, but the title is not. The other thing that I gave to you is the community input survey results. So you can see from that all of the survey results that we got back in, how many came in, what the questions were asked, and what the responses were. If you can also get this data on repmatsumoto.com. And again, we base our package off of what comes back from the community as their top priorities, as well as constituent requests. So you saw at the bottom of my bill package, there's that constituent requests section. That's when people write in on the survey or call us directly for bills that they would like to have heard. We do have a 10 bill limit in the House, and so there's less bills in my package this year than previous years. If you're wondering why it's a smaller package, that's the Senate can do whatever they would like. And the House has the 10 bill limit set by our speaker. And the final thing I'll do in my report is, I know it's outside of this neighborhood board area, but for the emergency access road, we did get a report that there was dumping. So if you did drive by, there was a whole bunch of illegal dumping that happened there. And there's still a little bit of conversation that's happening whether that is going to be maintained by DTS or DOT. But DOT came in and said, we're just going to take care of it. So that was being handled. So if you drove by and you saw that, DOT has handled that. And that completes my report. If there's any questions.
Thank you, Representative. Are there members of the board, members of the public? Are there any questions for Representative Matsumoto, Member Ross, and members Virginia?
So it looks like for your survey responses on question number 3 specifically, no tax wins out on everything. Is there any of your bills that are requesting any of those things?
Yep. So I have a bill that has no tax on food and medical services. And so that was, if you look at the survey, those were the two highest, the no tax on food and no tax on medical services. And the state has, just in the last 2 years, we did make a change where we have no tax on TRICARE, Medicare, Medicaid, which was a great step forward. But we're one of only 2 states that tax medical services, which many see, which I think we should all see as a necessity. And so that is a bill that I am putting in this year based off of those survey results. And I am not the only one. Actually, I will say I've put that bill in every single year so far, but I've seen a few cross my desk now from other legislators. So the idea is picking up steam.
Member Virginia, go ahead.
Question about the way you are conducting the survey. So when the people are asked the question, can they answer more than one, or do they grade their answers? This is number one, what I mean, or what are those numbers here? I mean, is it multiple answers, or is it the number of residents you ask the question?
So and actually, good point, Emil, I should put that into our survey. So for the first one, we were asking people to put their top 3. For that first one. So as you can see, that number is much higher than the 314.
Yeah.
I think that's responses that we had. Was it 314? Oh, I remember that number. So that was because it was top 3 for that question when we were asking people. And for the which current tax program, that one, they only got to choose one. They got to pick the top one for that. And am I missing anything else?
So that particular question would be representing the number of people you ask the question, yeah, because they only one.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. And well, the mid-session survey that I do every year comes out, and that one is typically very different. That is more of a yes, no, undecided, because the mid-session survey that is sent out is more of the policies that are moving through the legislature and what the community feels about them. The pre-session survey is really trying to gather some data to see the type of legislation to be introduced.
Martina, go ahead.
Does that mid-session survey only get sent to the population that answered the initial survey, or is it wide?
So for my mid-session survey, everybody who lives in District 38 should be receiving that survey. Now, I'm going to give a caveat. The House is still working on how they work print shop. So if we send things through our House print shop, we cannot do every door direct mail. We have to send it to only registered voters because that's the list that we have. I try to do all of my mail every door direct, so everybody in District 38. And because the mail routes aren't perfect, a few people in neighboring districts get that survey, but it will go to everybody, and hopefully it will be every door direct mail and not just registered voters. But that's another plug. If you're not registered, please register so we can get you the mail from our print shop. But I think something important for people to know when we're sending out the mail, that's some of our restrictions that we have within the House.
Any other questions for Representative Matsumoto? Okay, seeing and hearing none. Oh, wait, Sabrina, go ahead.
I was looking at your bill packet, the bottom requests
The second one, HB telehealth. What does that have to do with real estate licensing?
Yeah, so that was the one that was the mistake on the the title. That one has to deal with real estate.
So what's the HB title?
I think it's so none of these are actually the relating to title that you'll see on the bill.
You'll see on the bill. Okay.
So none of these, the titles we put on here, we're trying to make it easier for people to know what the bill's about. Because a lot of times it will be very broad, like relating to health. So these aren't the actual titles, but next, if you live in District 38, you'll be getting a bill package mailer soon because my numbers will be finalized tomorrow. But next neighborhood board, I will have all the numbers.
Okay.
So I'll make sure to give you a new list with all the numbers and the proper titles.
Perfect. Thank you.
Final question? Seeing and hearing none? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, next up, Representative Chica.
Aloha, good evening, Chair, members of the board. Trish La Chica, District 37. Happy New Year to all of you. This year I am continuing to serve. This is going to be my third session serving as Vice Chair for House Committee on Education. I am also continuing on the Higher Education, Housing, and Transportation Committees, as well as a member of the House Leadership Team. Like as Representative Matsumoto said, it's been quite the long last 2 weeks, so especially the past week. We've been working through the weekends, doing bill review, and getting everything out so that the committees can hear them because we have deadlines coming up soon. Some of the things we're working on, I'll include all of those next month in my bill package as well, because I help oversee the House Education Committee. We get a little bit more wiggle room in the bills that we get to introduce. So I'll share that next month. Some of the things that we worked with over the interim are highlighted in the newsletter, just some of the highlights. I'll stand on that report, but the back cover has a picture from my community talk story at Mililani Elementary School in December, which included updates from the School Facilities Authority, the Aloha Stadium development. The Department of Transportation Services came to talk about the bus route that we are trying to get for our Bus 51 dedicated bus lane to Pearl Highlands Station, and Mililani Go Kid School Carpool. That's also being piloted in the Mililani School Complex area. The second community is Maui. We have about 170 families now using, or at least engaged in using that application. Couple things that we worked with the department on the budget for the community. Mililani Public Library is hopefully it gets continue to be included in the budget, but it is overdue for a renovation as well as equipment upgrade. So yeah, it's that's going to be planning, design, construction dollars for Mililani Public Library. And then the second one was DOE is also allocating some funds to begin the designs for a new Core Ridge school, elementary school. For wanting to follow up on a couple items, and then I'm going to turn it over to my staff who have been patiently waiting. They are online, but wanted to get them to introduce themselves as well as hear from them, as they will be joining the neighborhood boards when I'm unable to make it throughout session. So on the member Kanehe mentioned the Kauka light. If you can let me know what date that was. We've been working with the Department of Transportation, if that's the one on Cam Highway, because there have been times when they've had to reset it when the green light is too short. So they have been able to make accommodations, but if it has been stalled for 15 minutes, then that's an issue that we'd like to see addressed. On the Ho'akea program that Member Lee mentioned, they're currently not in Mililani quite yet. I attended some of the site visits over the interim, but they are mostly in Leeward and then some Waipahu, but we are working with getting them connected to the Mililani area school so that they can establish some programming in the area. And that's a line item that we were able to fund last session too. Finally, for Member Kupuka on the math coaching. So this is something we've been working on for the past several months with the Department of Education, as well as two states that have passed it, Alabama and Kentucky. It's numeracy coaching. So what it is because Hawaii's 2024 National Math Proficiency Scores, for fourth graders, it was 42% proficient, so meaning 58% doesn't meet basic math. For eighth graders, it's only 23% statewide. So 77% are not proficient in math. And so there are, if you look at a school level data detail or do it by subpopulation, you know, like Native Hawaiian population or English learners or low SES, they go down into the single digits of folks who are proficient. So it is something that we have been working on. Coaching is really, this is coming from feedback from the teachers, right? Whenever they get something that's new, the feedback is, oh, it's like we're you know, they're overwhelmed. So they want to be able to in order for them to get to do their work well, it's really putting in a in-classroom resource. So a qualified licensed teacher gets to be with them in the classroom as they implement a curriculum and be able to observe them and then make any tweaks, provide feedback. So one-on-one coaching is a model that really works. In Alabama, they started the program 5 years ago. So during the pandemic, they've had communities where it was 0% proficiency, but they were the ones that saw the largest gains when you invest in the math coaching teachers. So we will hopefully we'll get to see that bill move through session. Did you follow up on that one?
Because yeah, when my two sons, they were in elementary school, their math scores was always above average. So I'm thinking, what are they teaching now that the students can't perform or know the concepts of math, which is so important?
Right. Those are good questions, and really a systemic issue that the department is addressing in the way that they're looking at different types of data. So it is a priority for them to kind of understand what's driving. Is it a instruction issue? Is it a resource issue? And so this is just one intervention to hopefully get our scores, or at least help our students get to meet proficiency. I think that's it for me. I wanted to make sure that my staff did get a chance to introduce themselves. Tosa, my office manager, is unable to join tonight, but I do have my committee clerk, Alani Santana, joining us, as well as Tiara Tenorio, my legislative aide. So I'll pass it on to Alani.
Aloha, Chair, members of the board, and members of the community. My name is Alani Santana, and I am Rep. La Chica's committee clerk. I help manage the House Education Committee operations and Rep. La Chica's bill package. So mahalo for having me, and I look forward to working with all of you. I'll pass it to Tiara.
Aloha, everybody. Aloha, chairs, board members, and community members. I am Tiara. I am Rep's legislative aide. I handle her communications, social media, pretty much correspondence as well with constituents. Happy to help as much as I can, and happy to be here and get to know the community. So this is also my first session. Really excited to start off and in the Capitol, and yeah, mahalo. It's nice to meet everybody.
Welcome. And okay, we're going to open it up to any questions. Members of the board, members of the public, are there any questions for Representative La Chica? Wow, we got a lot. Okay, let us welcome our Rhonda from the community. Please go ahead. Back up to the microphone, state your name for the record, address your question to the board, and the representative will answer.
Rhonda, community. I don't know if this is for you, but you talked about the library, and it reminded me as a community member, I would love the library to have hoopla as a, you know what hoopla is? Oh, does anyone know what Libby is? Oh my gosh. I know Libby. Okay, yes, but hoopla is, you can get books included from all over the country, including, I think, Australia. So you have a bigger base of books you can download and availability. Because I go there to the Libby and there's not enough downloads. You know, you have to wait time. So anyway, hoopla. Okay.
Thank you, Rhonda. Okay, I see that Mary has a question, and Catherine, go ahead, Mary.
Okay. I'm wondering if we're still using Common Core to teach math, because that totally destroyed people's understanding of math.
I believe, I don't know, currently they are working towards a single, like more standard curriculum, because in the past each school was able to choose from. So there have been schools that have been continuing to do that, and then some that are choosing from a list of other types of curriculum. So now they're kind of studying everything and then making sure that there's a more universal or standardized curriculum.
And what's Mililani using?
We don't know yet. They're ongoing. It's currently starting. This new initiative is just starting. Catherine, go ahead.
Regarding a bill for free lunch for every student, regardless of their family's income. I do not support that, because why should parents, right? It's part of their responsibility of taking care of feeding their children, see that they're clothed and have a place to live. So, I struggle too in purchasing my food. So I don't know. And another question I have is, do you know how you can get that dash cam to put on your dashboard every time I'm on the road, I see people crossing double solid lines. So it's kind of scary that you don't know what other drivers are. So do you know how I can get that dash cam? The state is
I don't think that that applies to specific individual drivers. I know my husband recently installed a dash cam in my car, so I can ask him where he got it and get back to you about that. But thank you for sharing that, as well as your earlier comment about free school meals.
I'm sorry. Catherine, for clarification, you're talking about a HPD or a dash cam? Hold on. We need to follow decorum and order. Thank you. Representative, is there a clarifying question you have for Catherine's question?
Yes, she was asking for obtaining a dash cam for her own personal use, but you might be referring to a bill that would require that as part of traffic safety and enforcing some of our traffic safety laws. They're asking Honolulu Police Department to install a dash cam in every vehicle.
Thank you so much. Any final questions for the representative? Ed, go ahead.
Thank you for coming. I just have one question. I in my personal life, I work with a lot of coaches, athletic directors, and I know there was a story last night on KHON, and the bill has been referred to Education Committee, and it's 1592. Would you be? I'm not advocating at this point. Would you be supporting something like that? I mean, I have some little problems with that, but and that is to increase criminal penalties for assault of educational workers, which includes coaches, referees, etc. But I just wanted to point out that would you be interested to pursue possibly another avenue if something like this doesn't pan out? And that would be to convene something with Keith Hayashi, superintendent, to rewrite or revisit the code of conduct for DOE, because the last code of conduct, I did some research. I have somebody was Pat Hamamoto, 2001, 2010. So I think that would be very interesting to revisit, because in spite of what's happened at the Mauna Loa incident where the athletic director was, quote, knocked out.
Right.
But thank you for being here.
Thank you. I don't know the House bill that you mentioned off the top of my head. I did see several bills that were relating to both educator safety as well as addressing sports officials. And it is a priority for the department because it's been increasing, not just what happened in the Moanalua incident. And it happens both coming from the parent side and then other threats that they experience, like even on the student side. So this has also been identified as a priority of the Hawaii State Teachers Union. And so it is up for discussion this session on the best pathway. So we'll explore multiple things, but I think the main priority is to ensure that everyone deserves to be in a safe workplace. And so if they continue to experience threats or anything that could, disrupt their ability to do their work, then that's something that we would need to address.
Thank you for your
Okay, I believe that concludes the questions. Thank you so much for your report, Representative. That was quite extensive.
Aloha, thank you.
Okay, I see that we also have Representative Peruso here online. Welcome.
Hi. So it's been a minute, and I wanted to, I won't have them speak because I know we're running short on time, but if Yvonne and Zaz could turn on their cameras just so you can see their beautiful faces. So Zaz is our legislative aide, community liaison, and then Yvonne is our office manager. Many of you have already worked with her a great deal. So thank you, ladies, for being on. And feel free to reach out to our office, 586-6700, if you have issues or questions. So jumping into it real fast, it has been a whirlwind. We're still in the midst of referring bills, so not all of our referrals are done. But we should be wrapping things up, and we are actually starting hearings tomorrow. And I will, I highly recommend folks subscribe to our digital email. It's available that you can subscribe at representativeamyperuso.com. And we'll have a lot of information about our legislative package and what's happening in terms of policy and problem solving in the legislature. And we'll go into some depth, and we can't really do that in these short reports. I have an ask for the board, and it's due to my participation as a member of finance. So I've been asking about the thinness of the support for our homeless providers and the ways in which I perceived our districts as being not well served. And so I asked for data on coverage for all of the districts on Oahu as provided by HMS within the Department of Health. And the data I got back, I want to share it with you folks because I would like to work on a resolution with this neighborhood board and the other neighborhood boards that are affected because it's shocking. So in District 8, which is Kapolei, Waianae, Nanakuli, and Makaha, they have the number of projected served, and this is based on a point-in-time count from 2 years ago because they didn't do a point-in-time count last year. Their numbers are 1,030. They have 2 outreach workers. Our district, so that's and that's most of my districts 2 and 3 combined. That's Wahiawa, Mililani-Waipi'o, and Pearl City. We are projected to serve 509, about half of that the Leeward Coast numbers, but we also only have 2. So Leeward Coast, they have 515 people per worker, and we have 255 people per worker. And then if you contrast that with districts 1 and 5, that's the urban core, they're only serving 315 houseless folks. They have 4 outreach workers, so that's 79 people per worker. And Windward Oahu is serving 210, and they also have 4 outreach workers. And that's about 53 people per worker. That's about a 5 to 10 times difference in the per worker caseload. So, and I think that it's really important that we help elevate kind of this understanding for the folks who are making this kind of decision making that Leeward and Central Oahu are structurally disadvantaged. We have the districts with the highest poverty rates. Might not be so true in Mililani, but the rest of the districts are definitely struggling. We have the longest travel distance, fewest service hubs, and greater housing instability. So I'm hoping that we can perhaps work on a resolution. I'm not really sure what to do with this data, except that I do know and understand that it speaks to what we are already perceiving in our communities, which is lack of capacity on the part of the state and the city and county in really addressing what is a growing problem in our communities. So with that, I yield to you, or yield to the community and the board for questions.
Let's start with questions to you. Are there any questions to Representative Peruso? Just completed her report. Trevor, go ahead.
Okay, so I'm sorry, that was like a lot of numbers that went by very quickly. But basically, what you're saying in so many words is that based off of the point in time count, we know that there are so many hundreds or thousands of people in need of housing for each section of the island.
Districts, yeah.
For each district, as set out as delineated by the point in time count.
Yeah.
And what you're saying is that the people here in Central and in Leeward, Oahu, you're talking about literally hundreds of potential or prospective individuals in need of outreach for each person that is actually able to do that outreach.
Right. So for District 2 and District 3, so that stretches all the way, and your board chair can also tell you more, that it's a huge swath from Central Oahu all the way out to the North Shore. There's only 2 people.
Okay.
Sorry, it's a lot of numbers. But I just wanted to, I was just blown away by the discrepancy. And I'm not asking for a response now, like in terms of the board's willingness to speak to this. But I do think that it's important that this body be aware of the thinness in service provision as compared to other districts.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Representative, what I can do about that is let's just do some information gathering. This is new information to us, so thank you for sharing that. Perhaps I can schedule a meeting with you to learn more, as well as work with our Health and Human Services and Houselessness Committee Chair, Darsha. I'd like to coordinate with her to make sure that she's aware of this and what her positions are on this. So like, let's just work together offline to see, to just get some information gathering and see what next steps look like and are in terms of this resolution request for our board. Okay.
That sounds great. Appreciate that.
Thank you so much, Representative. Are there any other questions from the board or from the public for Representative Peruso at this time? Okay. Seeing and hearing none. We're going to move on to announcements. Our next board meeting will be Wednesday, February 25th, 2026 at 7 p.m. here online at Mililani High School H building, as well as on WebEx. That will be after the SFA's draft environmental assessment. So just monitor your deadlines. Also, we'll be broadcasting this meeting and more on Olelo Channel 49 every second Thursday at 9 a.m. and on Olelo Channel 54 every first and third Saturday at 9 a.m. With that, it is 9:47. It's great to see you all, and I know you all miss Neighborhood Board, but with that, we are adjourned.